Ready.
Pete, what was we never know necessarily what's play call, what's adjustment, but what was the sort of thinking on the last 4 plays? They were all kind of shots to the end zone.
Yeah, I think that obviously we didn't execute some of those plays, but I think that we felt confident in going in with the plan, kind of what we had anticipated. I think we got some pressure looks. I thought there was just we all got to be better, and I think starting with the coaching staff and then the execution of those plays, communication. But again, obviously every week you prepare for those situations and you have what you on your call sheet, plays that you feel good about, and we came up short.
In general, though, that was something.
I think part of that could also be
calling it that situation.
I think it also could be part of what the defense was giving us, what they were doing. Maybe at times you might lose a check down or something like that. But I think that again, it was part of it's part of the play call. It could also be part of what the defense was doing.
Pete, was that what you called, or was that changed based on what Derek was saying? Did he check into something?
No, I think that it was really kind of the plan, whether I called it or whether it was check two. I think that it was executed. We just maybe some of the communication that starts with me didn't get handled.
Did you guys think that was gonna, like, the 4 verts? It looked like it got ran 3 different times, and that, like, did you see something each time that you thought, like, okay, like, if we get better protection, we can hit this?
I think that there's some there were some adjustments too to maybe some of those routes that could have happened, and again, I think everybody's committed to getting better and making sure that those things don't come up again.
Pete, when it comes to like the miscommunications and not being on the same page, is it a little bit of a shocker that it's happening through 6 days, and why?
Well, I think that, again, that's as coaching staff, we got to make sure that those things aren't happening and make sure that we're not doing too much and not putting our players maybe in some of those situations. So I think that, again, as a coaching staff, we got to be committed to making sure we're all on the same page and everybody's executing their assignment.
Pete, how challenging are the offensive line with the injuries this week? How challenging is that for you?
Yeah, I think that I think it's just it's obviously part of the business. I think that we have a group of guys in the building that we feel confident with whoever gets out there, and I think that Doug and Kevin do a great job getting those guys ready. So we'll have to see where we're at for Thursday.
What is the most direct fix to get the red zone offense going?
Yeah, I think that again, I thought that just going back to that game, I thought we sustained some drives, and we talked to our guys about finishing those drives with touchdowns. We obviously didn't, and obviously that was the difference in the game. But I think that as coaches, we got to make sure we're putting together the right plan, and then it's a group effort. Everybody's trying to get on the same page and be better, and that starts with us coaches, and then the execution.
But at what point, what can you specify? It just isn't clicking in the communication if it's continuing to be that much of an offense?
Yeah, no, it has been. It is kind of obviously, but again, just us getting up there and game planning and trying to put the right plays in, the right thoughts, and again, it starts with me making sure that we're getting the right calls, and then making sure that we're doing a good job throughout the week of communicating anything that might come up.
Coach, is one of those to Taysom Hill, and I think he either tripped or fell down. It looked like he might have been open on one of those plays over the middle. Was that on that series?
Well, I think that I know which play you're talking about, and I think it's just unfortunate, one of those situations that happened. But again, I think overall, when you look at all the plays in the scheme of things, we gotta be better everywhere.
Pete, do you consider reducing what you're doing?
Yeah, I think sometimes that's one of the things that you look at and say, hey, are we trying to do too much? Do we have too much in? And so I think that's always a consideration.
Yes.
Yes.
At that point right now?
I think again, a short week too as well, going in there and just making sure that we're doing our core things.
When some of those communication issues, are they almost always on adjustments or checks or
No, it could just be.
It can be anything.
It can be up.
And I feel like this is something you hear around the league every year from offenses and defenses. We're going to simplify things. Is that usually a last resort? Is that a negative?
I don't think it is. I think it's just sometimes you, as a coaching staff, you got to be careful that you're not doing too much, and I think that can happen anytime, any year, even when things are going well. So I think that it's just a matter of reduce and make sure we're doing our core things, the things we believe in, that guys are comfortable with.
Beyond just the communication, were there some issues in terms of route depth, and it seemed like some of the mesh concepts that were very compressed?
Yeah, I just I think we all have to be better. So
Pete, after an incompletion on first down, is there an advantage to running on 2nd and 10?
I think part of that's when you're doing your game planning and paying attention to what the opponents might be doing defensively. So I think that that's all taken into consideration when you're looking at your call sheet as to, hey, 2nd and long calls as well, whether run or pass.
What's the challenge in Jacksonville's defense?
Oh, man, well, first of all, you see them just the amount of balls that they take away. And then even, they're one of the tops in takeaways, but then you pay attention to how many opportunities that for whatever reason, but they got their hands on the balls. I think that's one thing when you look at the back end. And then obviously on the front end, they're stout. I think they do they're physical. They play the run very, very well. I think they tackle very well. They coach very well. And I think they also, they present some challenges with their pressure packages as well and just kind of moving guys around and doing things like that.
How do you feel like you all done with that aspect of handling pressures? I mean, certainly Houston came after y'all with a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I think that we've actually, just going back and look at it, I feel like we've handled most of those issues well with the communication on that aspect. And on the right guys, we've had, maybe 1 or 2 assignments that didn't happen for whatever reason, without talking specifically about those. But I think overall, going into the game and the execution has been pretty good. And sometimes, just a guy might just get beat.
Coach, is it particularly disappointing when you have more yards than anybody in the NFL on Sunday and you can't,
Yeah, well, I think the disappointing thing is it's really about points and scoring points. So regardless of, you can put up all the numbers you want, but if if we're not scoring in the red zone 0 for 3, I think that's the biggest issue. And then even, I still don't think 3rd down's good enough.
After the Tampa Bay game, Chris Olave said he had a lot of talks with friends and coaches about his body language. How do you think he's responded the last 2 weeks?
Well, so I think he's a competitor. I think he wants the ball. He's hungry for the ball, but he never does it in a way that's, to me, is disrespectful. He's competitive. So when he comes to you and says, "I want the ball," he's doing that in a very positive manner, and then you have the confidence. Okay, I'm going to get it to you. So I think that I think going out there, he seems to be, again, we haven't, we're 3-3, and we want to be better than that. So I think that there's an increased sense of focus, but I think that he's been great. Okay.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you all.
Thank you.